Evening and welcome to our September 29th Douglas County Board of County Commissioners business meeting. We want to welcome those of you who are with us today in the Douglas County Courthouse, as well as those of you who are joining us online. I'd like to pass on a bit of information regarding how we're going to run our hybrid meeting. For those of you who are joining us via Zoom, participants will be entered into the meeting with their audio muted. You'll be able to unmute once you are in the meeting. We ask that all online presenters use good conference call etiquette and mute their line when not speaking and introduce themselves each time they speak. If you have public comment on an agenda item or under regular public comment, please come to the front of the room if you're here with us in person and use the raise your hand function if you're on Zoom. We ask that speakers give their name and address for the minutes. We do ask that everyone keeps their public comments to 3 minutes. I will give you a reminder when you have about 30 seconds left. The county does reserve the right to shut off the microphone and remove any speaker from the meeting if they are vulgar, rude, or inappropriate. A recording of this meeting will be available on our website after the meeting. And we will get started this evening with a proclamation declaring October 3rd through 9th, 2021 as National 4-H Week in Douglas County. I believe that we have a presentation on this item.
Oh, there we go. Okay, well, thank you so much for having us. My name is Caitlin Piney, and I'm the 4-H Youth Development Agent for K-State Research and Extension, Douglas County. And we are here to proclaim National 4-H Week, which is coming up. I'm actually going to have one of our 4-H ambassadors give just a brief presentation recapping our most current 4-H year that ironically starts over on October 1st. So just around the corner here, and I will turn it over to Emily. Emily will give a presentation and then I'll have each of the other 4-Hers introduce themselves as well.
Thank you for having us here today. My name is Emily Taylor and I am a member of the Vinland Valley 4-H Club and on the ambassador team. We want to take this opportunity to thank the county for your continued support of Douglas County 4-H youth development programs. The educational programs we provide allows Douglas County youth to build life skills by leading hands-on projects in areas like science, health, agriculture, and civic engagement. A recent study conducted from National 4-H Council showed 4-Hers are 4 times more likely to give back to their communities, 2 times more likely to make healthier choices, and 2 times more likely to participate in STEM-related activities. A continual theme for 2021 was adapting. Our community continued to navigate our way through a global pandemic. Douglas County 4-H programs adapted to provide positive youth development learning experiences for our 4-H club members and our outreach youth program participants. In partnership with our trained volunteers, we served 350 4-H members aged 6 to 18 through our community club program. Over the past year, our 4-H community clubs has thankfully had the opportunity to meet in person. Youth involved with our community club program are gaining leadership, communication, and citizenship skills. Our members are also mastering skills in over 30 different 4-H project areas, ranging from animal science to STEM, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. Our club program hosted Serving Better Together, a service learning campaign. Thanks to the support of the Douglas County 4-H Council and our local 4-H Foundation, clubs received $4,600 in grants to reinvest in the Douglas County community through service learning projects. Clubs hosted service projects for several Douglas County agencies and organizations, including the Ballard Community, Family Promise, Lawrence Community Shelter, Sons of Union Veterans of the Civil War, Bert Nash, Feeding Eudora, Wakarusa River Valley Heritage Museum. Throughout the past 4-H year, we have partnered with over 15 youth-serving organizations, agencies, and school districts to expand our outreach efforts, reaching on an additional 1,500 students. Our 4-H programs empower young people to be true leaders. 4-H teaches youth to have confidence, work well with others, and endure through challenges. Whether it's through our 4-H program or our community outreach programs, we know we are growing tomorrow's leaders. We appreciate your continued support of K-State Research and Extension, Douglas County, and 4-H.
Hi, my name is Hunter Harding, and I am in the Palmyra 4-H Club.
That was Sadie Hunter, or Sadie Harding. Sorry about that. Okay.
My name is Callum Leslie, and I am in the Canwalka 4-H Club.
Hi, I'm Kate Keltner, and I'm part of the Eudora 4-H Club.
Awesome. And we can go ahead and read the proclamation. Thank you.
Well, thank you all. And I was incredibly impressed to hear that long list of organizations that you've worked with throughout the year, particularly in this year where so much adaptation has been necessary. So thank you for your service. Whereas 4-H youth across the nation are keeping it green by leading efforts to solve problems in their communities, raise awareness about environmental issues, and make a difference for their future. And whereas 4-H is one of the largest youth development organizations in Kansas and the largest in the nation with over 6 million young people. Whereas 4-H in Douglas County, Kansas claims more than 350 members and more than 100 volunteers. And whereas 4-H as part of the Kansas State University Research and Extension Program is a program where youth learn through opportunities that provide them hands-on experiences in 4-H's missions, mandates of science, engineering, and technology, healthy living, and citizenship. And whereas 4-H has connected youth in their communities with the innovative research and resources from our nation's 106 land-grant universities and colleges for more than 100 years. Now, therefore, the Board of County Commissioners of Douglas County, Kansas, do hereby proclaim October 3rd through 9th, 2021 as National 4-H Week in Douglas County, and urges the people of this community to take advantage of the opportunity to become more aware of this special program that enhances our young people's interest in their futures as part of Douglas County 4-H youth development, and to join us in recognizing the unique partnership between our county and our state university system.
Thank you very much. Do you mind if we snap a quick picture? Awesome.
Okay, we will move on to our consent agenda. We have one item on our consent agenda. Would either of the commissioners like to pull that item from the consent agenda? Would anyone joining us today like to pull anything from the consent agenda?
This is Commissioner Reed. I move to approve today's consent agenda, item 2.1.
Second.
All of those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Okay. We will open it up for general public comment. If you have public comment on a regular agenda item, please wait for that agenda item. But if you have general public comment and you're here with us in person today, we invite you to come up for public comment. Just a reminder, please come ahead, Paul. All public comment should be kept to 3 minutes.
Well, my name is Paul Baumeier, and last week I held up a photo of the people who attended the last church meeting in the Fall Cemetery. And I realized that no one's going to hear you, Paul. You know, the microphone's all kinds of stuff. Just shortens that I ask you, do you think these people look like devil worshipers? I certainly do not think they do. And I also just want to say that I think it's a shame that these God-fearing people are having to put up with what's being placed and said about them on the internet and at 10th and Massachusetts Street. It's immoral to continue to put these people down, God-fearing people who made this county what it is, help make this county what it is. And I won't go into my personal stories as to what we've had to put up with on our family plot, but it's wrong and somebody needs to stand up for these people. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have anyone else here for general public comment?
Hi, my name is Dr. Justin Spees. Shannon Portillo, or should I say Dr. Shannon Portillo, for those of you that don't know, for those of you out there that don't know, Dr. Portillo is also, let me make sure I got this right, Shannon, is the Assistant Vice Chancellor of Academic Affairs at KU, Edwards campus. So, and by my I mean, that's a long title with a lot of big sounding words in there. So by my calculations, you're like the third or fourth highest ranking person in your department. Do you see any problem with that as a county commissioner? Are you able to remain unbiased? So for example, if KU wanted to put in a mask mandate or and eventually a vaccine mandate, which you guys are all going to move towards as well, are you able to say, wait a minute, I don't think I'm going to vote for that? You'd be committing career suicide. Everybody up there swims in the same direction. You couldn't say, you know, I don't agree with what you guys are doing with these mandates. You're going to have to do what they say and vice versa. Does anybody have a problem with that? These clear conflicts of interest. And speaking of that, the mayor of Lawrence, Brad Finkeldie, is the mayor while also being the attorney for USD 497 and also being the attorney for the health department. I can't think of any conflict of interest there at all. That just seems totally legit to me, right? How do you guys do that? How do you get away with that? And there's stuff on YouTube, whatever your name is, and I was surprised you talk, Shannon Reed. That was the most I heard you talk. I'm sure there's some, I don't know what you do, but I'm sure there's something on you as well. And as we'll find out here in a little bit from some of the other speakers, what's that doctor's name? The female doctor that you're going to Scrimshire. Yeah, she's unhinged. We'll find out that she tried to, I don't want to steal your thunder, but she tried to run us over. And the only reason why I mentioned that is because she's unhinged. I would never, ever think of running her over, running any of you over. Why do you guys do that? What are you afraid of? We're just a minor threat.
Do we have anyone else for general public comment?
Hi, my name is Sue Herring. I'm at 5225 Harvard Road here in Lawrence. And I'm back here to speak to you about your bad decisions and their consequences. It was brought to my attention, and I was slow on the uptake because I don't have any kids in town participating in Rock Chalk Park activities. But it's been brought to my attention that a volleyball tournament that was scheduled to occur there in late October was canceled and moved to something called New Century in Kansas City. And the reason for that is that Rock Chalk Park requires masking of everyone, including the participants in volleyball, basketball, whatever kind of sport it is. And so the people that run these tournaments took votes and decided that's not for them. There are places just as more hospitable. And so their business has gone to other areas. To give you a little glimpse of what that means monetarily in hard numbers, the fee for a team to participate is $350 a team. 100 teams, that's $35,000. Plus the hotels, restaurants, brick and mortar businesses that get none of that traffic from them coming and attending what would have been a jam-packed place. And I talked to some of them in person today at Rock Chalk Park, and they said every single tournament this fall and winter has been canceled. They have nothing going on. The only thing they have open is their wellness facility if you wear a mask. That's economically pretty horrific. And this decision hurts everyone, one way or the other. And it's nuts to me that such a decision can go forward without you realizing and me absorbing some of the consequences. And it bothers me a ton that this decision was partly enabled by somebody contributing to it from the health department that doesn't even reside in this county. And that leads me back to what Justin just mentioned. This Dr. Scrimshire is not a resident of Douglas County, but she's aiding in decisions that hurt us. And how do I know that she doesn't live here? Because I stood on that corner every single day, and she comes whipping around in her BMW SUV type car and really clips it close to us at high speed when the light is green. It's not rational. It's not, nobody, I'm sure nobody in this room would treat a group of people that way and bring their car within that proximity to the curb. But she does that on her way home to her Johnson County residence.
Thank you for your comments. Do we have anyone else for general public comment?
Hello, hi, my name's Kenzie. I live in Douglas County. I'm sure you guys are really sick of seeing my face. I want to say that I know you guys probably think I come off really aggressive every time I come in here, and I don't mean for it to feel like I'm personally attacking you, because I really don't know that much about you guys. But you know, I've been fighting this since last year. I was really alone. There were a lot of us that were really alone last year. There weren't very many people listening. And there's a lot of people listening now. And it's really frustrating because I'm coming up here like, this isn't comfortable for me. I don't like doing this. You know, I'm here, I'm not getting paid for it. I know you guys are all getting paid for it, which is great. But I just, if I can read the things that I'm reading and I'm coming based off of real science, because we're not going to talk about it because I know you guys don't talk about science, but if I have seen the real science, surely the people that work for you have seen the real science and bring it to your tables, and you have at least come across it. It's really, I come across aggressive because it's frustrating, you know, and you guys can wear your masks if you want to, that's fine. I won't, I never have, my kids won't, they never will. They're not even in the school district. So I'm not even fighting for my kids. Like I've said before, I'm fighting for everybody else's kids. And I just, you know, when it started with the mask, it was just the mask. Well, it was a lockdown first, right? And then it was the mask. And then it was more lockdowns with the mask. And you know that the vaccine's next. And I'm sure you guys have gotten yours, and that's great too. But let me tell you something about myself, okay? Instead of attacking you, I'll just give you a little brief bit about myself. I have 2 kids, 10, 3. I've been called a murderer in grocery stores for not wearing a mask. I was chased out of a Chipotle once by a manager who saw my exemption, by a woman attacking me and my 3-year-old daughter, chasing us to our car window, trying to get my door open, calling us murderers, telling us that she was going to kill us, threatening for our lives. My daughter at that time still remembers that, still like bangs on the window sometimes, and she still remembers that happening. My daughter also almost died by a vaccine when she was 3 months old. So let me tell you, that was a vaccine that they've done over and over and over again, that they have had to admit in the Supreme Court that they haven't done research on over 30 years. That's true. You can look that up too. They haven't done research over those vaccines. What about this mRNA gene therapy? It's not actually a vaccine. It is a gene therapy. And what will happen to children like mine when you're told that she has to get it? She would die. She will die. So she won't get it. She won't wear a mask. She won't follow these mandates. And I wish that you guys would just open your eyes, because we're here to help everyone. Like, I'm not trying to come across aggressive, but like, wake up. It's ridiculous.
Do we have anyone else for general public comment? Do we have anyone online for general public comment? Please use the raise your hand function. Okay. We will move on to our regular agenda, starting with agenda item 4.1, public hearing to accept comment on establishing minimum maintenance designation on 3 roads in Lecompton Township. Sarah, do we have a presentation for this item?
Yes, Commissioners, we're moving Kevin Sontag into the panel for the presentation. Kevin, you're in if you want to come off mute and give us your presentation.
Thank you, Sarah. Shared. All right, can you see the image on the screen of the aerial photography?
We can, thank you.
Thank you. Good evening, Commissioners. Lecompton Township has made a request to establish minimum maintenance designations on 3 roads in their township. All 3 of these road segments are very similar in nature. They were all opened over 100 years ago as public full maintenance roads. As far as anyone can remember, and using older aerial photography as visual evidence, all 3 were maintained and travelable until around the 1990s. Around that time, these 3 roads stopped receiving regular maintenance as it was not necessary for the general traveling public, and no residences took their access from these segments. Currently, all 3 roads are in such poor condition that a regular car could not traverse them. They are only used today by people walking, riding all-terrain vehicles or horses, or not used at all. They are not officially minimum maintenance roads, but they have every appearance of being one. The township has no desire at this time to improve these roads and therefore are asking for the minimum maintenance designations to match their current physical state. As part of the normal process, both Lecompton Township and the Lawrence Douglas County Planning Commission held hearings to take public comment and then state their opinion on whether these minimum maintenance designations should be established. Both entities voted unanimously for approval. That brings us to our hearing tonight. A resolution is being presented to you that would officially establish the minimum maintenance designations for the 3 roads. After taking public comment, if any, we hope the board will approve the resolution. However, if you feel the resolution should be amended in some way, you can direct the Public Works Department to amend the resolution and bring it back to you at a later meeting. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them at this time. Thank you.
Thank you. I have no questions. Seeing no questions, we will open this for public comment. Seeing no one for public comment, we will close public comment and the public hearing.
Commissioner Kelly, I move to approve the attached resolution on minimum maintenance for the 3 roads in Lecompton Township.
Second.
All of those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much, Kevin.
Oh, you're not done with me yet.
And we will move on to item 4.2, public hearing to accept comment on rescinding the minimum maintenance designation on a portion of East 1000 Road in Willow Springs Township. Turn it back to you, Kevin.
Thank you. So our first item was for establishing a minimum maintenance designation, but this item is for rescinding a minimum maintenance designation. E1000 Road in Willow Springs Township between the South County line and N100 Road was originally opened in 1870 as a public full maintenance road. It remained that way until 1994, when a portion of this road from N100 Road to a point approximately 3,800 feet south was officially declared minimum maintenance by the Board of County Commissioners. However, since at least the year 2000 and up until present day, this portion of road has actually been maintained by Willow Springs so that normal everyday vehicles could travel on it. And the township will continue to maintain this road in the future. It physically appears to be a full maintenance road, but it technically remains a minimum maintenance road. We are now wanting to mend the situation by rescinding the minimum maintenance designation and making this an official full maintenance road again. As part of the normal process, both Willow Springs Township and the Lawrence Douglas County Planning Commission held hearings to take public comment and then state their opinion on whether this minimum maintenance designation should be rescinded. Both entities voted unanimously to approve removing the designation. That brings us to tonight. Another resolution is being presented to you that would officially rescind the minimum maintenance designation for this segment of E1000 Road. After taking public comment, if any, we hope the board will approve the resolution. However, if you feel the resolution should be amended in some way, you can direct the Public Works Department to amend the resolution and bring it back to you at a later meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll open this up for questions. I'll open it up for public comment. Seeing no public comment, we'll close public comment in the public hearing.
This is Commissioner Reed, I'll comment that I appreciate the full circle effect of these two agenda items and had a little chuckle to myself when reading them. And I will move to approve the attached resolution as is.
Second.
All of those in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much.
We will move on to item 4.3, also from the Planning Department. Consider text amendment TA-21-00107 to the subdivision regulations for Lawrence and unincorporated Douglas County. Sarah, do we have a presentation on this item?
I believe Mary Miller will be coming into the panel to present this item.
Good evening, Commissioners. Mary Miller, City County Planner, and I will share my screen real quickly here. This amendment is an amendment to revise the subregs in the urban growth area of Lawrence to more closely align with the recommendations in Plan 2040. This was before you on August 11th of this year for discussion and then to provide staff with any direction. And then it was before the City Commission on August 25th for discussion and direction again. And it's before you today with a recommendation for action along with a resolution if you do choose to approve it. The difference in the comprehensive plans, the subdivision regulations are written under Horizon 2020, which recommended that residential development in the unincorporated area be directed to the urban growth area. And then the cluster certificates of survey were created to implement that. Plan 2040 actually recommends that the conversion of agricultural land to non-agricultural uses be minimized and that the rural character of the unincorporated area be maintained. And so the changes that are being proposed here would implement that. This is the urban growth area. The blue area is within the city limits of Lawrence. The green is Tier 2. This is the area that's expected to annex within the lifetime of the comprehensive plan. Most development in this area would require annexation, but in some cases, if services just aren't available yet, some development could occur prior to annexation. The tan area is Tier 3. This is not expected to annex within the lifespan of the comprehensive plan. However, the areas closer to Tier 2 could annex. And just to mention the type of land divisions that are possible in each tier. In Tier 2, the green area and the tan area, Tier 3 of the urban growth area, residential land divisions can only occur through the cluster development certificates of survey. And these have density of 4 dwelling units per 20 acres, require 40% to be set aside as future development area. And they're kind of a hybrid between a survey and a plat. Outside the urban growth area, the type of certificate of survey is a much more simpler type. 20 acres can be divided into 2 parcels, and the minimum parcel size is 10 acres. So that's the basic difference in the land divisions in the urban growth area and outside the urban growth area. This graphic was provided back in August. It just shows that currently about 70% of the area outside city limits, and that includes UGA and the rural area, are made of parcels of more than 40 acres. And so that's very encouraging to make the change at this time when we still have a good inventory of large parcels. This example is also shown to show that the slowdown of annexation into the city of Lawrence was resulting in some development pressures in the rural area and higher levels of land divisions. And as we noted earlier, there are two options being recommended or being suggested. The Planning Commission voted to recommend approval of option 1 for both tier 2 and tier 3. Option 2, which was not recommended, was to revise the build out plans to go ahead and allow the certificates of survey to continue, but with upgraded build out plans to ensure that when it's annexed, utilities could be provided through the area and it could be subdivided to urban densities. And option 1 in tier 2 is would prohibit any new land divisions through the subdivision regulations until the property is annexed into the city of Lawrence. Land divisions could still occur through the exemptions to the subdivision regulations. And these are things such as divisions for agricultural purposes, cemetery purposes, right-of-way purposes. Agricultural subdivision boundary surveys could still occur. That would not divide land into less than 20 acres. In addition, if you were already zoned CP or cluster preservation, your land could be divided. You could amend a certificate of survey, or you could replat if your property was platted. This would only apply to land that is not currently zoned CP. And if this amendment is adopted, we would need to make a change to our zoning regulations to note that no new rezonings to the CP district would be permitted. We would keep the standards. That way, if areas that are currently zoned CP would want to subdivide or replat, they would have to replat based on those standards. And tier 3, there was that revised build out plan option I mentioned. The option the Planning Commission recommends, option 1, is to prohibit the cluster certificates of survey or plats, but to allow land divisions in tier 3 to occur as in the rest of the unincorporated county. And that would be that rural certificate of survey. It's a very simple type of survey. It just results in a density of no more than 2 dwelling units per 20 acres. And again, the caveats still apply. If it's an exemption, or if the property is currently zoned CP, then the land division could continue. And as I mentioned, we'll be revising, if this is approved, we'll be revising the zoning regulations to prohibit new zonings to the CP district. We do have one active application to the CP district, and staff has been working with this applicant for a considerable amount of time, nearly a year, I believe, in getting that process, and that is currently under review. The Planning Commission considered this text amendment on June 21st and voted unanimously to forward it to the County Commission and the City Commission with a recommendation for approval. And so that's the action that's being requested today. There is also a resolution that if you do approve the text amendment to adopt the resolution, it will be brought back to you for signatures once the City Commission has taken an action on the amendment. And that ends my presentation. I'll be happy to answer questions if you have any for me.
Any questions?
Yeah, I had a call from a community member who asked, I know the lines were drawn for tier 1 and tier 2, not necessarily on property lines. What happens if their property straddles tier 2 and tier 3?
If anything that's within tier 2 would not be able to divide. They could divide anything that's in tier 3 through the certificate of survey that's allowed in the rural area. So if they had more than 20 acres outside of tier 2, then they could rezone to the ag 2 because it would still require rezoning. And if that rezoning was approved, they could divide that through a certificate of survey. Now, if they were in a situation where the only road access was in tier 2, then it would not be possible to divide the portion that's in tier 3. They would have to have their individual road access to that portion.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Seeing no additional questions, we will open this up for public comment. Do we have anyone here for public comment on this item? Do we have? No. Oh, please come forward.
Okay, things have changed. I forgot how boring these meetings are. So I wanted to come and visit tonight about this plan that you're wanting to put forth. And I will admit, when I walked away from government, I walked away from government. So I have not kept up with a lot of items. Then I was unfortunate enough to go to Washington, DC, and then that really turned me off against the government. But I was asked to review this. I was kind of a little bit shocked from what I was able to find out. My name is Jerry McElhaney. I'm a resident. I'm not a resident in the urban growth area as you have it drawn, but I am outside the urban growth area. But I do have interest both in agriculture and in livestock production within the urban growth area. And so this kind of is what has brought this up to me. Now, I read in the Journal World newspaper 7-8 days ago where the city of Lawrence manager has 60 open positions in staff to help in the management of the city of Lawrence and to complete the work. And a lot of that is in the Public Works Department. My biggest fear that if we slow down the growth, so to speak, we are at the mercy at the city of Lawrence, and they will just say, we do not want any land annexed until we can hire the correct appropriate amount of personnel to fulfill this position. As a business owner, I'll have to admit to you that we will never, I don't think in our lifetime, ever be able to fill our positions that we had once before. In my own personal businesses right now, I am down 14 employees and I do not expect to hire them back. So that is what is making me cut back, not retire, just put in extra hours and just demand more from other people. I think this is going to be an increased tax burden upon the citizens of Lawrence if this plan goes forward. Because one, it will have to, the city will have to hire additional personnel, additional equipment, infrastructure plans to accept or accommodate what is going to be happening in this area. One of my biggest fears is this will turn into a TDD or a TIF, the Transportation Incentive Function, where a special tax can, and I expect it will be, implemented once this annexation occurs. And I don't know if that has been discussed in staff meetings or has been brought up by the Planning Commission staff at all. But it's very possible. I mean, it's going to be the easiest thing in the world. When you're in government, the easiest thing in the world to do is to tax. It's very simple. And so I'm afraid a TDD and a TIF will come into implementation, and the residents out there in these tier 1s and tier 2 areas will not know about it whatsoever. And it seems like we are doing some limitation of growth through discrimination. Now, I know that sounds terrible. Whenever the word discrimination comes up, it's terrible. But the limitation that is being imposed on the people in this area is just tremendous. These property owners in this urban growth area, they purchased their land in the 60s, the 70s, and 80s. And to many of them, this is their investment. This is their investment. They planned on in the future of selling this land, putting their kids through college, paying for an illness in the family, and to use this land to continue on their lifestyle and lifestyles within their family. Many of these people, not many, I'm going to say, I'm taking a wild guess here, I don't know. I'm going to say 50%.
Over your 3 minutes. So if you could wrap up soon, please. You're over your 3 minutes for public comment. So if you could
Oh, you have
please
3
wrap up.
minutes? Oh, geez,
Yes.
Can I have just a hair more? I'll run through it real quick. I don't think you have too many people here this evening. Thank you. Well, a lot of these people in this urban growth area, they don't have IRA or Sept accounts or Roth or stocks or bonds. They are relying on this ground as their investment. But all they have is the dirt on their boots. And if we're going to be taking that away from them, we should have a tax abatement, so to speak, for these people that we are going to restrict. So in other words, I understand the tier 2, the tier 3, but I suggest that we have a tier 20 plan. This is just me. And again, I have not been studying this, but a tier 20 plan would exempt people with 20 years or more of ownership of this particular property, or 20 acres or more with a -2 slide on it. I'll step away from there. I did not know there was a time limit. I used to listen to people for 35, 40, 45 minutes at a time. So, but I do appreciate the time limit. That is a good idea that you have. So thank you.
Thank you. Seeing no one else for public comment, we will bring this back for discussion. I do just want to say thank you very much, Mary, for the presentation. I think that this is an important step for our community, not in any way to limit growth, but to actually make sure that we're growing in a smart way so that we can have well-planned communities and communities that are, as we continue to build out housing that's annexed into the city, so it has full access to utilities and all of the amenities that we can expect for well-planned development.
Yeah, I mean, we've been talking about this for a long time. I appreciate all the comments that have been provided. I'm comfortable with this. I think it is a choice that we've made as a community, and I think that's the critical thing to think about here. There are equally competing values on this, but I think in my discussions in the community, with the Planning Commission, with the City Commission, this is the best way forward for us.
I concur with those sentiments, and I'm happy to make a motion. I move to approve text amendment TA-21-00107, revising the subdivision regulations for Lawrence and the unincorporated areas of Douglas County, Kansas, to revise and develop land division processes and standards that are aligned with and will effectively implement the goals and action steps provided in Plan 2040 for growth management of the Lawrence urban growth area, and approve, I guess I didn't need to read all that, did I? I move to approve joint county resolution and ordinance number 9870. Sorry about that.
Second.
All of those in favor, please say aye.
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 Thank you. We will move on to item 4.4, executive session for the purpose of consultation with county counselor on matters which would be deemed privileged under attorney-client relationship. The justification is to maintain attorney-client privilege on this matter involving Douglas County. And I believe that we need to say how long we will be in executive session. Okay. I'd prefer not to be here all night. Okay, we will. I don't have anything official to read, so we'll come back at 6:33. Thanks. Okay, moving on from our regular agenda, we move down to appointments. I don't think we have any appointments to consider this evening. Okay, we are moving to miscellaneous. Sarah, what do you have for us?
Commissioners, you just have a memo in the packet. I just want to, it's pretty brief. I just want to remind everybody that we are not meeting next week. And in addition to that, just that there's the Wells Overlook event is coming up soon. So hopefully we get good attendance at that. And that's all I have for you, Commissioners.
Do we have any miscellaneous items from commissioners? Nope. Okay, then we are adjourned. Thank you.